Hey everyone, and welcome back to Pittsburgh International Race Complex for Race 2. Before I get started, I just want to say I'm sorry I couldn't get this video out sooner. I actually pulled a muscle in my neck a few days ago, and for a couple days I could hardly get out of bed. It's still feeling pretty stiff right now, and unfortunately that also means that I'm going to miss the first round of the Formula Tour Championship at Mont Tremblant this weekend. But don't worry, we'll be back for round 2 at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve at the beginning of June. But coming back to Pittsburgh, in race 1 we walked away with the win, totally uncontested. But today is a bit of a different story. There's 2 new cars in my class, a new F500 car that wasn't there yesterday, and both of them are going to cause problems in this upcoming race. So let's take a look at the starting grid. One of the new cars, Chris Huron, beat my best time on Saturday by just under half a second. He's in that yellow and gray Van Diemen sitting in front of me on the grid. And I wasn't able to set a time in Sunday to respond to it because a circuit breaker fell out on my first time lap. It killed the engine and it just left me stranded on the side of the road. Unfortunately, it was a super easy fix, and they included my best time from Saturday, so I don't have to start in the back like I thought I might have to. And the gap behind me tightened up as well. Michael Hummel withdrew for Sunday's race, and then Jason Annunziata in that other F500 car improved his time. Now the other car to look out for, one of the other new Formula Fords in this race, is number 72 of Tom Schweitz. He's down in 9th place, but he's quicker than his qualifying pace showed, so keep an eye out for him. And we're starting on the second row outside behind the wicked fast F500 car of Calvin Stewart, and then Chris Huron's Formula F is going to be on the inside. So I'll cut the rest of the formation lap and I'll rejoin with you guys as we're rolling up to the green flag. Alright, so we're coming around the last corner, the pace car is pulling away, and we're all lined up to take the start of the race. And of course keep in mind that that white car right in front of me is actually not in our class, so we're really not worried about him. We're a lot more concerned with Chris Huron, who's starting right next to him. And there's the green flag. The F500 car, as expected, checks out. Chris gets a pretty good start. He slots in right in front of me. And coming into the first turn, those 2 F500 cars behind me just get the jump and give them space, because again, I'm not really racing against them, and I'm not too concerned about whether they're in front or behind me. And also take a look at the tires on those F500 cars. Those psychedelic-looking strobe lights are actually the stickers on brand new tires. It's considered bad luck to actually take the stickers off of them, and they burn off in a lap anyways. So that's an indication that those guys are on brand new tires. And I think Chris is on new tires, or at least the same tires he was using in qualifying, which I'm pretty sure were new. And I think a bunch of the other guys are using new tires. Of course, I've got the same tires that I've had on and that I've been using since we were at Palm Beach way back in December. So I think it's a little bit of a disadvantage, but like I mentioned before, these tires actually have really impressive consistency throughout their life, and I actually set the best lap of the entire weekend at the end of this race. So it's a little bit concerning that Chris is starting to check out and pull away. Of course, he's being held up a little bit by that other F1600 car. I think everybody is still sort of like, it's the first lap, everyone's trying to get settled in. And there, Chris just flies back. He's told me later that he had a missed shift, and he was playing around with the shift linkage, and he missed a shift going from 3rd to 4th just because there wasn't enough space in between the shift lever and the bodywork for his hand, and it tripped him up. And these 2 F500 cars are just getting in the way. I saw Chris fly up behind me. I wasn't sure if he had a bigger problem than that, if maybe his engine busted. Just because he flew back so dramatically. So I'm trying to take advantage of that and get out ahead, but these F500 cars here are holding me up a little bit. And there goes Tom Schweitz in that number 72 citation that I mentioned in the beginning. He just flew out from 9th place and got around me. Of course, I feel pretty confident that I should be faster than him, so I'm just trying to find a way to get past him safely. He slows way down in that corner. Of course, this is just a practice race for the Formula Tour Championship, so we're playing super conservative the whole race, the whole weekend. think at this point, Chris Horan is probably on my tail, if not very close. And he's definitely forcing me to overslow the S's. I take a look to the inside and decide better not push it. I get a pretty good run out of turn 7, even though I gave it a really big lift. These two left and right hand kinks on the back straightaway here make it really hard if you do get too good of a run on someone, because you really don't want to pass into this corner. But that big sweeper sort of messes you up if you get a run to try and pass into the hairpin here. So it's tricky to line up a pass there. Of course, turn 1 coming up is also a fairly decent place to pass, even though going over that crest in the braking zone sort of upsets you. But I'm not looking to make a pass right here. Oh, he brakes so early, I almost got into the back of him, and of course, Chris Horan was just right behind me. He takes first place in front of both of us. And he's already starting to pull a gap. I noticed there was smoke coming out of Tom's engine. So I think that both he and I have a bit of a horsepower disadvantage on Chris Horan. I don't know if Chris's engine is blueprinted or if it's just a normal stock engine, but he does seem to be pretty quick coming out of corners and on the straightaway. I do know that his operation is a little bit more sophisticated than mine. At least when I went to see him in the paddock, he was putting the setup on the car on a setup pad with scales and everything. So they've probably got that car figured out a little bit better, at least, than we do. But I think Tom's done some racing in the F1600 Pro Series. I don't know how successful he was, but he definitely knows how to drive. I have no idea how well his car is figured out. Of course, at this level, it varies everything from privateer entries like myself to guys that usually race in the Pro Series that are down here just for some seat time. And I know that Chris wants to do a couple of the Pro Series races this year. So I'm sort of using him as a barometer for where we are. And I come out from way behind. I was not attempting to make a pass there, and I wasn't quite successful, but at least we didn't get into each other. Downshifts are sounding a lot better than they were in Virginia. It's amazing how having everything in the cockpit properly secured, properly attached to everything else can make a big difference. Again, coming from way back, at the time I was thinking that I was just murdering him under braking, but after reviewing it, watching the video, and reflecting on the race, I think that my longer braking zones, or my catching up to him under braking, was actually more a symptom of the problems I was having with trying to stay off the gas pedal as I was on the brakes. And of course, it makes it extremely uncomfortable when you're racing nose to tail with someone, because I would usually use as my brake points don't really work. And if his car slows down a lot faster than mine does, it can obviously cause some pretty big problems. And it makes things very uncomfortable. Unfortunately, I can't shrink my feet, so we're going to have to figure out a solution. The pedals in this car are not all that well adjustable, especially from one pedal to another. I think you can move the entire pedal interface forward or back, but with one pedal in relation to another, I don't think there's much you can do. I think one thing we could do is just bleed the brakes and try to make the pedal a bit more firm. It still felt completely fine, but it might have started to go a little bit soft towards the end of this weekend. I get a good run coming out of turn 1. Trying to get sucked up right into the draft. Stay in as late as possible. Use that momentum. I almost think about having a go at the F500 car, but I think better of it. Again, there's no reason to take any big risks, or any risks at all, really. The last thing we want to do is to have to thrash on the car to fix it for the Formula Tour Championship. And so I'm thinking to myself, I should be quicker than Tom. And of course I'm blaming this F500 car for holding me up and keeping me from breaking away from him. But I think he was just a lot faster than I expected him to be. I get a big run out of old turn 7. Trying not to play my hand too soon. Again, there's a terrible place to pass here, and this kink really makes it difficult to line something up into the hairpin. As I leave room, Tom pulled pretty much the same move on me that I did on him. And you can see me shaking my head there. I wasn't a big fan of that move, but I did the same to him, so I guess turnabout was fair play. Of course, after, this is the 3rd time that we've had these big lunging moves at each other. And I'm starting to think to myself, you know what? I don't really want any part of this. I just came here to have a quiet race, work on the car, make sure everything works, and prepare for the main championship. So I'm starting to think to myself, maybe it's a good idea to back off and just work on my own race. Of course, I've been seeing smoke puffing out of his engine all race. So there's also the question of whether or not his car is going to last. Which, of course, the level of preparation, as I said, at this level is always kind of hit or miss. Some guys have their cars figured out really well, and some guys, like us, frankly, are still trying to figure things out. Yes, his Tom's right on that F500 car's tail. He's being a lot more aggressive than I was. Holding a big lift going into old turn 7. At the end of this race, I was taking it flat out pretty easily. And I think that when I was racing in Pro Mazda and racing on the test circuit, the old North track, that corner was flat out, but it was scary, just because it was so blind and it was really fast. But in this car with the new pavement, you can even be a little bit offline and still take it flat out. I was just being sort of super conservative again, like I keep saying. Overslowing turn 1 quite a bit as well. But I think my issues with my feet in the footwell and catching the throttle was affecting my confidence rolling speed through the corners. And I don't think I locked the brakes at all weekend, which on one hand that's good, but on the other hand it kind of means that I'm not really challenging the brakes as much as I should be. I think a little bit of lockup every now and then is okay. It shows that you're approaching the limits. And Tom pulls a bold move in the middle of the S's on that F500 car. That's the kind of move that you would see in a pro race, and if I saw an opportunity like that, I would definitely take it. But in one of these majors or a regional race, that was a little bit ballsy for my taste. Of course, in the Pro Series, an opportunity like that doesn't really come along very often. I get a good run out of turn 1 this time. Of course, that continuously variable transmission in the F500 car gives him a bit of an advantage. He's always in his optimal torque range. That might have been a missed downshift. I think the way that I had the gearing going into the hairpin there, I usually it was a little bit too long to string out second gear, so I would short shift up to third and then go down into into first rather, for the corner. I'm not sure how some of the faster guys, how their gearing is different, that they maybe just have a taller second gear, but I'm not sure if taller second gear is ideal for other parts of the track. Like through the S's here, I'm in second gear, and it feels like the RPMs drop a little bit too low. So Tom's pulling ahead of the F500 car, and we're about halfway through the race, just over halfway through the race. And at this point I've decided to back off and not fight too much to try and catch up with them. So the next several laps are pretty quiet, so I'm going to cut those out, and we'll jump back in the car right before I cross the line to start my fastest race lap of the weekend. And then that's, I think, the penultimate lap I do that. So we'll jump back in the car and for those last couple laps. Alright, and we're back after the dramatic fade-in. Coming into turn 1. You can see that stranded Formula Ford there on the right-hand side. Again, the mysterious tire marks careening into the wall. Really curious as to how that happened. A little bit of mid-corner oversteer. Nothing, little throttle can't just settle down. We're on lap 17, so this is the penultimate lap of the race. As you can see, the number 72 of Tom Schweitz is way ahead of me. I think the F500 car that I was following, he pulled ahead and then he dropped back a lot. And so we got past him and he was behind me. But of course he's not in our class, so it won't show up on the results. And we're still in third place in our class. Flat out through turn 7. Again, I'm gaining more confidence. The last couple laps before this, I was flat out in old turn 7 as well. Flat out through the kink. Downshifting decisively. These are the Formula Vs that started way behind us. And they're quick little cars for what they are, but of course a lot slower than ours. Playing it perhaps way too safe. He didn't give me a point buy, and I didn't want to try to stuff myself down in the apex, so I let him go. Again, the cars behind me are way behind me. The cars out in front are way in front, so there's no reason to take any risks. Through the southern hairpin for the final time. That's another Formula V off in the distance. out of the S's for the last time, up to Old Turn 5. I think this corner has been reprofiled a little bit. Before they repaved it, it had a bit more of a bowl to it, so you could carry more speed. Of course, again, a big lift on the last lap. Approaching another Formula V. On the rev limiter way early, even before the kink. Through the hairpin up to start finish to finish the race. I think overall a great weekend. Of course, like I said, this was just basically a test weekend to prepare for the start of the Formula Tour Championship in Quebec. Again, like I said in the intro, I'm unfortunately going to miss the first race, or the first event, which is the first 3 races, but we'll be back for rounds 4, 5, and 6 in Montreal. I would not miss that for the world, supporting the Formula 1 race. It's going to be an awesome weekend, and I think that we're 1.7 seconds behind Chris's best lap, which I said I think is a decent barometer for where we are in relation to some of the faster guys. Of course, it's going to take all season for us to make up that difference, and it's going to be a tough year, but it's going to be a good one. So thanks for watching, guys. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe and leave a comment if you want to tell me how bad of a driver I am, or leave any words of encouragement or anything like that. And again, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in a few weeks in Montreal.